In September 2025 alone, we raised 3.65 trillion. That is 411% higher than the amount raised in May year 2023. We have restored physical health. Our debt service to revenue ratio has been significantly reduced from 97% to below 50%.
He also highlights others of the 12 remarkable economic milestones of his government, to include stronger foreign reserve, tax to GDP ratio, trade surplus, improvements in oil production, social investment program, naira stabilization, recovery in coal mining, and expansion of transport infrastructure across the country.
The 284-kilometer Kano-Katsina-Maradi standard gauge rail project and the Kaduna-Kano rail line are nearing completion. Work is progressing well on Legacy Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and Sokoto-Badagry Highway. The Federal Executive Council recently approved $3 billion to complete the Eastern Railway project.
In his message to the youth, the President updates Nigerians on various programs and policies, which include the Student Loan Scheme, consumer credits, and the Investments in Digital and Creative Enterprises (IDICE) program, all to expand the opportunities for young people and secure the future of a country.
You must continue to dream big, innovate, and conquer more territories in your various fields of science, technology, sport, and art and creative sector. Our administration, through policies and funding, will continue to give you wings to fly sky high.
President Tinubu commends efforts of the security agencies and assures improvements in securing the lives and properties of Nigerians.
And may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And later on the Independence Day, President Bola Tinubu celebrated the anniversary in a different way from the usual order, with the inauguration of a newly renovated National Theatre, now named the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts in Lagos. Correspondent Amaka Owo reports that the renovated iconic structure is said to be a massive platform to stimulate growth in the creative industry.
The National Theatre came alive and played host to the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the hierarchy of the National Assembly, and other members of the Federal Executive Council.
Thank you for this great gift to Nigeria. Thank you.
The President highlighted the role of the historic edifice in promoting the nation's cultural heritage in Festac 77. He urged Nigerians to remain steadfast in projecting the nation in positive light at all times.
Something that is very, very important to me, to you as government and Nigeria in diaspora. That is, stop talking about Nigeria in the ill negative tone. It's a country of very proud people. We know what we are. It might not be because of education. There are a lot of educated relics around the world. It's about ourselves believing something we inherited from our parents and great forebearers. A nation of brave people, confidence, and dedicated. Let's build it together. Every christening, if you had a bad dream, forget it. This country will succeed.
The National Theatre, now named after the famous Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, is now called the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts.
I remember this building when it was first erected during a military regime. I think we called it the General's Hat because of the shape of the roof. There's, of course, in the conception, very little of what I call the African architectural intelligence.
Lagos State is proud to have been a key stakeholder and a partner in this project, and we have demonstrated it in every concrete way.
This theatre is the virtue, the ideal of every single Nigerian. It is only fitting that this landmark now bears the name of Professor Wole Soyinka, our Nobel laureate and eternal storyteller.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria appreciated the contributions of the private sector in injecting about 68 billion naira towards the realization of the project. He highlighted the immense impact of the National Theatre towards deepening revenue earnings in the creative sector.
It is a treasure we must all protect and nurture so that it never again falls into disuse. Let it stand as a beacon of creativity, innovation, and unity for decades to come.
Several theatrical performances to commemorate the rebirth of the national edifice were on display.
An hour away from the independence anniversary, President Bola Tinubu says he is sticking to his long-term vision to unite Nigeria irrespective of the religious and cultural differences amongst the citizens. The president who said this as he met with religious leaders in Plateau State assures of government's effort to defeat terrorism and other forms of insecurity in Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu on the Plateau, the third state he would visit in barely a week. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, led National Assembly members, while Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State came with his colleagues to receive the president on a dual-purpose visit to Jos. And on the streets, residents of Jos displayed their love welcoming the #1 citizen. But then, beneath this warm reception, the peace and part of the home of peace and tourism has been under threat over the years. Religious and communal crises have lingered, claiming lives and properties in parts of Plateau and other north-central states. Apparently, this is a major concern for the president. At this strategic meeting with Christian leaders in Plateau State, President Tinubu said he remains focused on fighting all forms of insecurity in Nigeria, committed to converting tragedy to success and maintaining his vision to unite Nigeria. As a Muslim and husband of a pastor, President Tinubu believes nothing speaks volume better than this of his respect for freedom of religion. He also took the message to the congregation of the Church of Christ in Nations headquarters in Jos.
Hate is not an option for us. Love is what you preach, that we should love one another. Nobody determine what God has ordained. Our deed, our character, our love to our fellow beings is what is important.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang appreciated the president for his support for combating insecurity, calling for sustained effort to end the loss of lives and properties.
While the scale of attacks has abated in recent weeks, it is far from over. I am determined more than ever to provide the leadership that will unite our people and ensure that our diversities are better managed in order to reduce the tension along traditional fault lines. We'll continue to bank on your moral and administrative support to deal with this multi-dimensional monster called insecurity.
It's making a lot of concerted efforts to see to it that at the end of the day, people in the IDP camps can return to their homes. It's quite a pity that this has gone on for decades, unchecked. But with the determination and the support of the National Assembly and all stakeholders, I believe that peace must return to the plateau. Peace must return to North Central.
And our President Bola Tinubu has categorically dismissed the rumor in some quarters about religious intolerance, declaring that there is no religious persecution in Nigeria. The president made the declaration in Owerri at the presentation of a book written by Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, called. Obviously, many more than the governors answered with the array of politicians here to receive a leader of a country.
Thank you, Chairman. How are you doing?
And the second visit of the #1 citizen to the Eastern Heartland State again pulled out residents of Owerri to welcome the president as he headed for some of the recently completed infrastructural projects of Governor Hope Uzodinma. The Assumpta flyover bridge providing relief to road users at a strategic junction after years of deterioration, and the Owerri Mbise Umahia Road were inaugurated. And then to the Emmanuel Iwanyang Conference Center, a 10,000 capacity edifice delivered by the Uzodinma administration. The facility was put to use immediately. Here, it was seemingly a national meeting of Nigerian sector's representatives. Apart from the leadership of the National Assembly, state governors, traditional rulers from across the country, as well as religious leaders were present for the presentation of a book written by Hope Uzodinma.
The book is a decade of impactful progressive governance in Nigeria, 10 years of APC in governance. May God show us the next 10, 100, and 1,000 years.
The author set out to articulate, chronicle, and document the impact of progressive governance in Nigeria as delivered by the All Progressives Party in the last decade.
The 373-page book of 10 chapters highlight the journey before and after the advent of APC, its approach to governance, as well as landmark achievements since 2015, and the efforts of the party's national leader all along were well pronounced.
Long before he became the president, his ideas and his persistence shaped the progressive family. Many of the reforms we now take for granted had their roots in his insistence that Nigeria must do things differently.
10 years, we are moving forward. Mr. President, if I say you are doing well, they will say, it's rubber stamping what the president is doing. But others are saying it, and they are not politicians.
President Bola Tinubu commended the governor for his efforts to document the first 10 years of progressive governance in Nigeria started by the late former president Muhammadu Buhari, as he asserted that the next decade promises to be more impactful. He pointed to the indications, including the economic growth by 4.23%, the declining inflation, improvements in external reserve, manufacturing, and trade surplus growth, among others.
Every aspect of the pain in our economy is because of the future. And I am giving you that confidence that right now, this economy will work for you. Not for the smugglers, not for the corrupt people. The coming decade will be an era of renewal. Nigeria is changing for better. You will get the benefit.
And in the spirit of the independence anniversary, the president says Nigerians remain united, advising those speaking ill of the country to stop.
They lie all over the place that we have religious persecution, that differences. No. We are more developed, civilized, and well-educated. Yes, we learn English, but we teach English too. Our Muslim brothers and sisters and Christian brothers and sisters and fathers are helping us to build a nation. We are united. No religious persecution in Nigeria. It's a lie from the pit of hell.
And President Bola Tinubu has continued his drive to woo investors, particularly Nigerians in diaspora, to come home and invest for the growth of the country's economy. President Tinubu received 2 Nigerian global investment leaders, Chief Executive Officer, Global Infrastructure Partners, Bayo Ogunlesi, and Chairman, Metis Capital Partners, Hakeem Bello Sage, who is also a senior lecturer Harvard Business School, at his Lagos residence, with discussion centered on upstream oil and gas as well as large-scale infrastructure investments. The president reaffirmed Nigeria's readiness to partner with leading global investors for sustainable growth and prosperity as part of his renewed hope agenda. The investors, who were led to the meeting by the chairman of the National Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, spoke to State House correspondents afterwards and indicated interests of investments in aviation and port sectors.
But look, Nigeria is now a place that is exciting to invest in, and that's what we talked to Mr. President about. And of course, as you would expect, he was very encouraging of international investments in Nigeria.
Okay, I'm not expecting you to tell me how that you told the president, but what sector particularly are you interested in?
No, but you think about all the sectors that we invest in. Energy. So we invest in energy. We're building LNG plants in Texas. We're building LNG plants in Australia. There's gas in Nigeria. Nigeria is a huge gas province. People describe me as the guy who bought Gatwick Airport. I didn't personally buy Gatwick Airport, but the aviation sector is also an area of interest to us. I confess to Mr. President that one of our companies has ports in Cotonou, and it has a port in Lomé, none in Nigeria. So I asked for his forgiveness and understanding, and being the gentleman that he was, he forgave me, but said, you have to bring port investment to Nigeria. So that's another area we're looking at. Renewables, that's another area. So lots of investment opportunities in Nigeria. You just have to be serious about making the right moves.
I think when Nigerians in Nigeria and when Nigerians in the diaspora invest in Nigeria, it can only be a great signal for the international community to invest in us and make our country greater.
They commended the president's reforms, which they say have positioned Nigeria for economic growth.
Think about it. Removal of subsidy, tax reform. We have a refinery that's operating and exporting aviation fuel. Unification of the road ownership system. And so the next step is, how do we encourage international investment in Nigeria to drive economic growth?
We thank President Tinubu for his policies. They have made Nigeria investable. We wish him all the very best, and we give every assurance to the President and every assurance to the Nigerian people that we will do our very best, and it will create a fast-growing Nigeria which will achieve its objectives.
Our President has done fundamental reform, and that reform on its own invited all these people that you are saying. We've done the fundamental. The next thing for us is to lead export-led economy, and they have committed. Mr. President has given them go ahead, and the only thing I can say is the hope is very on rise.
And that has been it on Executive Recap for this week on the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Thanks a lot for being part of it. Join us again next week for another edition. God bless you and yours. God bless Nigeria.
Confidence is there. Hope is back for Nigeria.
Do you want your school to be known for your achievements or activities? Then look no further. At NTA Knowledge on Star Times Channel 359, we will showcase your school's graduation, excursion, inter-house sports, community service, school's registration of new intakes, and more. For enquiries and advert placement, please dial 0805-906-0657, 0803-553-5720, 0803-337-4201. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.